Now, the German Chancellor, Olaf Scholz, is facing a confidence vote on December the 16th. If he loses that vote, as is expected he will, Germany will have an election in February to choose a new parliament. Now, that means that political parties are focused right now on the polls and on preparing themselves for that contest in early 2025. So let's have a look at how polls suggest that election could turn out. They're saying that Chancellor Scholz's Social Democrats would win only around 16% of the vote. The Conservative bloc of the CDU and the Bavarian CSU parties would be twice as strong, with 32%. The business-friendly Liberal FDP would not get enough votes to even be represented in the Bundestag. The far-right AfD party would likely achieve 18%, and the Left Party would fail to reach the 5% hurdle to score a place in Parliament, but could still be represented by winning 3 local candidates. That remains unclear for now. A new party, the BSW, could make it into Parliament. It's polling at 5%, with a blend of left-leaning economic policies with conservative migration and Russia-friendly foreign policy initiatives. And we can get more on all of this from our chief political correspondent, Nina Haase. Morning, Nina. Now, looking at the weak figures predicted for the Social Democrats, that's Olaf Scholz's party, has the Chancellor essentially already lost this election?
Well, at the moment, he and his party are polling way behind the Conservatives, that's true. So 16 compared to 32%, there is quite a big gap. But this is a very volatile situation still. And if you look at 3 things, one, if I can throw you back to 3 years ago, just a few weeks before the last elections, Olaf Scholz was polling at 14% only, and he still managed to become Chancellor in the end. Why? Mainly because the others made mistakes in the tail end of the campaign. 2, in Germany, it's all about coalition building in the end, right? So a lot will depend on how potential coalition partners will perform, especially the Greens. And 3, roughly 1/3 of Germans are still undecided, and there is less loyalty to parties than you would have had in the past. And also, you mustn't forget, if you look at polls, you also have to look at trends. And Olaf Scholz's government coalition was extremely unpopular, but he's since taken the decision to end it, and voters do seem to acknowledge that. His party has actually gone up 2 percentage points since that decision, while the others have lost points. But yes, it's a big gap to the leading Conservatives right now, and he doesn't have much time to catch up.
That's right. So leading Conservatives polling at about 32%. And it is therefore looking likely that Friedrich Merz from the Conservative CDU party could potentially become the new German Chancellor. So tell us a bit more about him.
Well, I think for viewers abroad, it's important to know that Friedrich Merz is not fundamentally different to Olaf Scholz when it comes to the big foreign policy issues. They strongly believe in Germany being firmly rooted in what we call the West. There's a strong focus on good ties with the US. They want a strong European Union. But when it comes to details, Merz is still somewhat of a mystery. It's not clear, for example, whether he would deliver the Taurus missile to Ukraine or not. He said in the past that that needs to happen, and now we're not so sure. But he is presenting himself as wanting to drive change in this country. And in theory, a lot of Germans are currently saying that something does need to change here. But then Germans are also reluctant to change. So you do need to convince them. And Friedrich Merz has yet to deliver details in important areas when it comes to the pension system, for instance.
Nina, we're going to take a look at some other facts and figures, and we'll come right back to you afterwards. Pollsters asked people what they see as the biggest challenges facing Germany right now. And 45% see the economy as the biggest problem. That's 38 percentage points more than just a month ago. Migration is next with 23%, and the fear of war is at 18%. Now, the big losers in this are environmental protection and climate change. Once named as people's main fear, now only 12% of German voters still see environmental protection and climate change as the most pressing problem. So clearly a change there in priority about what is most important. So, Nina, the economy, clearly the most important issue for many Germans in these elections.
Absolutely, and that is because the economy is in a bad state. The OECD just this week said that Germany's economy is expected to see the slowest growth out of all developed economies next year. GDP is only expected to grow 0.7%. And there is a huge backlog in investment that is also rooted in some of the decisions that were not made a couple of decades ago. But perhaps just as importantly, for the last 3 years, German companies have not known just which way Germany and the government wants to go. Pour public investment and subsidies into the system, like Olaf Scholz and the Greens wanted, or reduce tax and stick to a no further public debt policy. And that's what the business-friendly FDP wanted. And that was also the issue that broke the coalition in the end, that they couldn't agree on the philosophy on how to fix the economy. And that struggle, of course, meant uncertainty for German firms, but it also meant a lot of uncertainty for German house owners, etc.
So uncertainty going into the election, which will likely be held in February. DW's chief political correspondent, Nina Haase. Nina, thank you.